Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach and this is the channel where I document my journey, where I'm going from a very low level, below average athlete to what I expect to be the best athlete, the best runner in the world, the 2032 Brisbane Olympic Marathon Champion. That is my aim, that is my goal. And as I said in my intro, I am a below average athlete. That means I have so much that I need to catch up on these professional athletes. If I want to not just reach their level, if I want to beat them, I want to be better, so much better than them, I need to work harder. So, how much harder do I need to work? In today's video, I'm going to go through what I believe that I can actually ever achieve in terms of time and distance. But I'm also going to go through what the pros are doing, because there's no point if I just say I'll do this X, Y, and Z, and then the pros are doing even more. Like, have you ever heard of the 10,000 hour rule? It's not really a rule, but basically, if you want to master something, whatever it is, if you want to master something, you need to put in about 10,000 hours to be a master at that skill. So, whether that is running, whether that is IT, whether that is writing a book, drawing, whatever you can think of, they say you roughly need about 10,000 hours in order to be a master at that skill. So, these people, they're already so much further ahead of me, which means I need to work harder in order to hit that 10,000 hour mark first. So, first, let's dive in and let's have a look at what the pros are actually doing. Okay, let's start off with Alex Yee. So, if you're not very familiar with him, he is the Paris Olympic champion in the triathlon. So, he's not really well known in the marathon. He's done two. So, we did London and he did Valencia back in 25. And I think he was a 2:06 back in Valencia. So, super rapid. Now, if we have a look at his Strava, so it looks like he's got most of his training. So, if you have a look here, you can see he's doing 16 hours of training in this week from the 9th to the 15th of Feb, and 20 hours the week after. But this is running and cycling. But what you can see is on average, he does about 7 hours of running. Now, because he has such a big base as a triathlete, he doesn't actually need to spend too much time running. He's got that base foundation training. But you can see he's doing about 7 hours or about 100k per week, which that is enough for him to get to that level because he's doing all this additional training. So if you have a look here, let's have a look back before. This probably would have been before Valencia. I think Valencia was started December. He does about 400k of training, 20 hours of training. So most of this 400 is just cycling. But you can see 100 to, I think he did about 100 miles was what he was averaging. So 7 hours. 7 to 10 hours is what Alex Yee is doing. If you actually have a look at my Strava, so I upload all my activity Strava. I'm not active, so I don't check it. So I might not see any comments or likes or whatever. But you can see I'm only doing about half an hour less per week than him. I'm actually injured at the moment, so my training is not accurate. I'm actually more closer to the 10 to 12 hour range. But I've spent 3 weeks doing very little because I've got an Achilles injury. The next person I want to look at is the Australian record holder, Andy Buchanan. Now, Andy's also coming back from an injury, and you can see he's doing about 7 hours of training per week. You can see here, back from injury. But if you have a look at some of his bigger weeks here, so he's doing 187k, or about 13.5 hours. Here, which is another big week, he's done 200k, 15 hours. So he's still doing about, let's say, if Alex Yee's doing 7 to 10 and he's doing 12 to 15. Now let's have a look at Phil Sessman, and another professional based in the UK, and he's doing about 15 hours on average, and you can see it's fairly consistent. 15 hours of training is what it takes him to maintain his professionalism. Now that equates to about 225k per week, which is pretty decent, quite high actually. If we next go into Brett Robinson, who is a Australian as well, he's another top contender for the spot in the Brisbane Marathon. And you can see here, he's currently doing about 10 hours of training. But if you look at some peak weeks, what it takes for him in order to achieve that level is about 14 and a half hours, 210K. I've already had a look at this one here before. And it's got about 16 hours of training, 250K. But that's actually a bit misleading because he's got a 3-hour ride in here somewhere. Where is it? Yeah. So you see he does a 3-hour ride, about 60K. So he's not actually on 250, it's 190K and about 13 hours. But you can see overall, roughly, he's pretty similar to what Andy Buchanan is doing, and in about the 12 to 15 hour range. We've got here is Alfie Manthorpe. He's another UK athlete, and he's another really rapid runner, top prospect for the future. And you can see that Alfie is doing 12 hours a week, about 170, 180K per week. All of these athletes, they're doing at most 15 to 16 hours per week, which is, don't get me wrong, that is a lot of training. But if you have a look at some other top athletes, you look at people like Christian Blumenfeld. And Christian Blumenfeld, as you can see here, is doing 25 plus hours per week, or 22 to 25. You can see he does some absolute massive weeks, but he does about 100K of running, 7 hours of running, but it is that base, 5, 6, 7 hours, 12 hours on the bike, 12 hours on the bike, 10 hours on the bike. It is that base work, that base foundation that allows him to just push and push and push. So, what is it that makes these guys special? It's the hours. It's the absolute hours of training. So what I want to do now is have a look at what can I personally do? What, if I want to get to this level, if I don't just want to hit that level they're at, I want to exceed it. I want to absolutely smash them. So let's have a look at the spreadsheet that I've got here. So here we have this Excel sheet that I've got blank at the moment. But what I've got at the moment, I do a morning training session. And when my son's in school, I would love to do an afternoon double day. And then that's going to total it all up, tell me how many hours I can train per week. And then if I get put in a pace here for an average pace, and then it'll tell me how many Ks I'll do roughly per week. So let's get into it. So when I do my morning sessions, I always do a 6-minute warm up and a 6-minute warm down. And then I'll put the main session as well. Now, from September, so I'm not 100% sure if I'll do Sydney Marathon in this year. But after that, either way, I am going to be running 7 days a week. So at the moment, it's between 5 and 6, but let's do it as though I'm doing 7 days a week. Now, I do a 6-minute warm-up, as I said. So 6 minutes divided by 60. So 0.1 hours is what I've got here. Now, doing that across the week, Monday to Friday, here we are. And I do the exact same thing, just in reverse in the cool down. 0.2. Now, I always train to time. I don't train to distance. So when I do my easy runs, at the moment, well, when you don't factor in the fact that I've got an Achilles injury, it's about an hour and a half. Now, that takes about 14.5K, give or take. So I don't set out for a 14.5K run. No, I set out for an hour and a half. And I get what I get. So when I do my tempo runs, still, it's an hour and a half, but it could end up being about 16, 17K. And when I do my threshold workout, threshold reps, again, it's an hour and a half, but it could be 18, 19, 20K. The hours don't change, but the paces do. So we're going to chuck in here 1.5, because that is what I do on a daily basis, is an hour and a half run. So you can see if I just work Monday to Friday, I'm doing a total of about 8.5 hours. On Saturday and Sunday, when I'm doing marathon block training, so at the moment I'm preparing for Canberra Marathon, which is in about 5 weeks, and I hope I can recover in time to do it. But during normal season, let's say I'm preparing for a half, I'll probably max out about 2.5 hours. These days in marathon, I'm doing about 3.5 is where I will max out. But what I'm going to chuck in here is I'm going to chuck in 3. And I like to do 3 hours both Saturday and Sunday. It'll be a different session. One day will be easy, one day will be hard, and only one day is outside on the roads, the other day is on the treadmill. But, you know, it is going to be 3 hours and 3 hours. I do like to just keep it consistent to keep the efforts in the leg. It's not, I don't think it's worth it doing a 40k run on one day and then having the day off. No, you got to do, let's say 25 to 35k and then back it up the next day to get your body used to that fatigue. So when it does come to race day, you're mint. So if all I do is run 5 days a week, what you can see here is that will give me 14.7 hours. That is basically what these pros are doing. All I need to do, Monday to Friday, 3 hours on Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday, and we're mint. But as I said, I don't just need to do what they're doing. I need to exceed it. I need to do so much more. Now, so what I plan to do is when my son's at school, once he's a bit older, he can, look after himself in the afternoons, evenings. He can do all his homework or whatever. I'm a bit more free. So I would like to do up to about an hour plus or minus a cool down. So I'm going to copy that in here. I'm obviously going to change this down from 1.5 to 1 hour. And you can see if I just did 1 day a week, that puts me at 16 hours. I'm not just going to do 1 day a week. I'm going to do it Monday to Friday. I don't know why that copied like that. But there you go. I can do it up to about almost 21 hours of training per week. I don't double on the weekend. I will never double on the weekend. Family time is very important to me and making sure I spend that time with my son. During the week, it's a bit hit and miss because, he's got school, he's got his extracurriculars, all this and that. Like, weekend though, it's just me and him. We can, you got to have that quality time. There's no point if I can get to the Olympics and whatever, but if he's not there supporting me, it's all for nothing. So weekend we don't double, but Monday to Friday I would love to double. So that gives me about 21 hours per week. Now at the moment my average pace is it's around about I think it's 6:45 per k average across the month. And so now 6:45 pace is how we chuck into here. So 60 divided by 6.75, because 6.45 is 6 3/4 is 8.8k per hour. So if I were to keep my current pace, with this projected 20 hours a week, I'll be doing a weekly distance of about 184k per week, which is over 100 miles, and it is what everyone says they want to do. You want to hit the 100 miles. But that's not my goal. 6:75 is not my goal. My goal is 4 minutes per k. So if I drop to 4 minutes per k on an average, so 4 minutes per k is, that is the average. So when you're doing your intervals and your efforts, you're doing 2:45, 3 minutes, 3:15. You're doing so much faster. When you're doing your slow efforts, you might be doing 4:30, 4:45, 5 minutes. So you've got that range. But across the week, across the month, it averages down, and so you average about 4 minutes per k. So that's about 15k per hour, which gives me a total for the week of 310k. That's my goal. All of these pros, they run 200k weeks, which, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of distance. So if I want to beat them, I can't just do 200k. I need to do 250, 260, 280, 300, 310k. That is where I want to be. 310k is my goal. Now, am I going to hit that goal? I don't know. I think I can. I think I will. I have got 6 years to get to the Olympics. I've got 6 years to build up my training so that I can do this 20 hours per week. It's going to be a hard slog, but I am prepared to put in the hours and to do that and to hit it. If you'd like to actually see what is possible, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on this journey, because I don't know what is possible for a human to do. I know what these guys are doing, but is that the absolute limit? Maybe, maybe not. So that is what I'm trying to achieve. What is physically possible for me? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, time for a little bit of a bonus clip here at the end. So the other day I made a post on my channel saying, what Superblast 3 shoes should I get? And I gave you the options. It was only for sale was the blue and like a shitsy shell type one. And overwhelmingly you guys voted for the white seashell cream color. I personally would have gone the blue one, but you know, I wasn't super fast on either of them. I didn't really like them, but they've just arrived. Now, I have ripped it open, but I haven't actually pulled this out. So, let's do an unboxing. Okay, so here it is, a nice, fresh set of shoes. What have we got? Oh yeah, looking pretty nice. Okay. Here we are. We've got the nice cream shoes. Looking good. Got the FF Leap foam here. Looking nice. I'm not really a white fan. Not really a fan of the colorway, but I'm going to use them. They're going to replace my long run shoe. So I don't have a long run this week. But we should be using them on Monday. Monday the 9 March, I think. Whatever it is, that will be first use. It's a public holiday, actually. Public holiday in Canberra. So, lucky me. Get to do 3 hours as a public holiday run. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for voting on that poll.